Hello there! My name is Welicki and I am the Chief Product Officer for Power Apps. 2023 was a great year of innovation for Power Apps, driven by our investments in generative AI, modernization, and governance, changing how applications are built, used, and managed. As the year is ending, I thought that the best way to reflect on these innovations is building an app together. We'll go from idea to deployment following a set of simple steps. In this case, we'll build an app that I really need. That is an app to track my guitars. So let's get started. The first step is create the application. As we get into Power Apps, the first thing to notice is that we can use everyday words to describe the application that we want to build. So I will ask the Copilot to create an app to track my guitar collection. The first thing that the Copilot will do is create a table to store the data, and not only will it define a schema, but also populate it with sample data. The schema looks good, but I need to add more columns as there is more data that I'd like to track. I'll ask the Copilot to add neck, pickups, bridge, type, country, and notes columns. In just a few seconds, the Copilot will add the columns to the schema and populate them with very good and safe sample data. I always like to have good sample data sets to create my apps, so I will ask the Copilot to add 10 more rows of data so I can get better data set to build my application. And at this point, the table looks good, so I'll go ahead and ask the Copilot to create the application for me. This is a good time to mention that the Maker Copilot that we are currently using is generally available since October in the enabled regions. In just a few seconds, we got a starter app that works over the table that we just created. Let's run it without any changes to see what it does. Not surprisingly, it is a modern master details where I can create, read, update, and delete records. There are a few things that I'd like to mention. For example, if I render this application on a mobile device, it will responsively adapt and show the things on the screen. If I render the application on an iPad that has more screen real estate, it will show more information. Also, notice this icon here that has the word connected when we hover on it. This is because this application can work offline, so if I lose connectivity, I can still read and write the application data. In just 2 minutes, and with only a few prompts to the Copilot, we created a fully functional, data-driven, multi-device cloud application that can work with and without network connectivity. To achieve this, we use the Maker Copilots, which is generally available in enabled regions, and Canvas Offline, which is currently in public preview. The next step is making modifications to the application. So let's make a few changes. First, I want to sort the guitars by brand. The Maker Copilot provides some contextual experiences. In this case, I'll select the gallery and ask the Copilot to sort by brand. The Copilot will go ahead and give me an expression to accomplish what I just asked, which I'll go ahead and apply to the gallery. So now, my guitars are sorted by brand. Next, I'd like to add a confirmation screen to be displayed when a record is saved. I'll bring back the Copilot on the side panel and ask it to add a confirmation screen. In a few seconds, the Copilot will add the new screen to the application for me. Of course, with Copilot, I am always in control. If I change my mind about anything that I ask, I always can undo any action with just one click. In this case, for example, I will ask the Copilot to undo what I just asked. So basically, with just one click, I get back to the state that I was before. If you're thinking, do I have to create my applications by typing a lot of text and creating a lot of prompts now? No. The prompts help you increase productivity, but we also still have the point and click experience that we all know and love. And in fact, we made it better than ever. Let me show you. In this case, what I want to do is I want to change the title of the form to show the brand and the model of the guitar. We have just improved the formula bar and brought the full Monaco editor to Power Apps. So look at this. I'm going to change this expression so it will have the brand and the model. Notice like we have better performance. And of course, this experience is closer to what you get with Visual Studio Code because we are using the same component. We just saw how makers now have more options to build their apps. You can use Copilot in context, Copilot on the sidecar, or the existing point and click experiences, getting the best of all worlds. To achieve this, we use the preview features in the Maker Copilot and the new and improved formula bar that is currently in public preview. The next step is about expanding the application to do more. In addition to my guitars, I have a set of effect pedals that change the sound that comes out of the guitar. I have the list of pedals in an Excel file. Using the Copilot, I will create the new Dataverse table from that Excel file. So let's go ahead and do it. Go ahead and add a new table, and as I create a new table, I can upload an Excel file. I'll go ahead and provide the file with my pedals. And now the Copilot is analyzing the data in the file, uploading the data and suggesting a schema. Let's take a look. It actually did a pretty good job. So you see we have a price column, which the Copilot identified as a currency. This is great because currency is how the Power Platform deals with monetary values. So this application can be localized and work with multiple currencies. For the URL, for more information about the pedal, it identified a URL column. And for the type of pedal, it identified a choice, which is basically it inferred that it can be one out of a multiple set of values. So the table looks great. So I'll go ahead and create it. And now that I have the table, I want to create now a screen to display all the pedals in a responsive and modern way. And what I want to show you is how I can do that in less than 1 minute with less than 10 clicks. First, I'll go ahead and add a new screen using the modern header and footer template. I don't need the footer, so I'll take it away. At the top of the screen, I will use the header control, which basically creates a fully functional header for my application. In the main container, I will add a table control, which I will connect to the pedals table that we just created. I will do a few adjustments to the control. Basically, I will change the height and I will change the width so it can responsively adapt to the size of the container. And there we have it. That's all I needed to do to create the app. In fact, I also can change the colors with just one click with the modern theming. So let's make it red, for example, or green. Let's run this app to see what did we get with these few clicks that we just did. If I run the application, I got a grid as expected, but again, if I render this grid in a phone, it will convert to a gallery. Again, if I render again this screen in a place with more real estate like an iPad, it will become again a grid. And we did all of this by just placing two controls in a modern responsive form. In the last 2 minutes, we created a table from an Excel file using the Copilot and then created a modern multi-device screen to display information from the table that we just created. To achieve this, we use the Maker Copilot capability to create tables from Excel and the modern controls and themes that are currently in public preview. Now that we have our application ready, the next step is to deploy it. To deploy the app, we will use pipelines. And I know what you might be thinking or wondering right now. Where are the tables and apps that we just built created? In a solution, of course, as they should. How? Well, you can now define preferred solutions. So every resource that is created is added automatically to that solution. In this case, I set up the preferred solution to be Leon's guitars. So all the tables and apps that we created with the Copilot have been automatically added to that solution. Let's take a look. So as you can see, we got into the solution and everything is there. That solution is also configured with a pipeline, so I can use it to deploy my application to a production environment. I'll go ahead and start the deployment. Here, the Copilot came to our assistance again. In this case, the Copilot generated automatically a description of everything that is part of this solution. So the deployment is self-documented. So as I start the deployment, it will come with deployment notes that have been automatically created with generative AI by the Copilot. The target environment, of course, is a managed environment, so admins have full visibility and control over the apps running on it, and will benefit from all the latest innovations like additional controls, recommendations, and many, many more. We just saw how everything that we created with the Copilot was automatically added to a solution, and how that solution is set with a pipeline so we can safely deploy it to a managed environment. And as we deploy it, we will do it with release notes because the Copilot will generate them for us. To achieve this, we used the preferred solutions feature, Power Pipelines, managed environments, and of course the Copilot to generate the description of the contents of the solution that is being deployed. Now that we built and deployed our application, it is time to open it and use it. First, we will open it in the mobile player. So this is my personal cell phone, and I'm going to go ahead and open Power Apps. I have here the Guitar Collection app. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. And the first thing to notice is how smooth the movement around the app is. I'm going to open an item, go back. If I change the orientation, it will bring more information. If I go back, it will get to the responsive view before. The reason why this is so smooth is because this is a native mobile application. With the Copilot, the application that we just created is using the native mobile rendering that we are just previewed a month ago. So now this application has all the benefits of a native iOS app. If I open the application in the Canvas player, instead of an iOS native application, I have a full HTML application that takes advantage of all the good things that the browser has to offer, making the most of that form factor. We just saw how that simple application that we created a few minutes ago with the Copilot was rendered as a native iOS app in the phone and as an HTML app in the browser. The app that we created was optimized for each target device. To achieve this, we use the new native rendering capability that is currently in public preview. We saw how to use the Copilot to create applications, but how about bringing the power of the Copilot to the end users of the applications that we create? Let's get back to the app in the Canvas player. Notice that at the top, we have this Copilot icon that when we click, will bring the app Copilot. That is a Copilot for the users of the application. As a maker, I did not have to do anything to get this Copilot to show up in my app. And the Copilot is already grounded on all my data, so I can start asking questions right away. So let me go ahead and ask the Copilot, what is the brand and model of my oldest guitar? I got an answer, a reasonable one actually, and I could ask more questions. But also there's more than the Copilot can do for me, in addition to answer questions about my data. When I'm editing a record, if there's any text area where I need to provide text, the Copilot can help me with writing that text. So you see here I have this guitar for which I need to write some notes. So I'm going to ask the Copilot to draft those notes for me. So say, write a description for a cherry red Epiphone casino. And just by asking this prompt, the Copilot will go ahead and write it for me. And of course, once it comes back, I can change the tone, I can change the length, or I can just apply it to my text area and be done with it. Admins have full control over these capabilities, and they can enable or disable them from the Power Platform Admin Center. We just saw how Power Apps premium apps can benefit from a Copilot that helps their users to be more effective. To achieve this, we are using the App Copilot features in the Canvas player, which are rolling out through January. Before we go, there is one last thing that I want to show you. I want to talk about how you can modernize the app and also expand the Copilot using Microsoft Copilot Studio. So this is a version of the app that we just created, but we improved the experience using the modern controls and applying some styles. It's exactly the same app. Another of the differences, in addition to the user experience changes, is that we expanded the Copilot using Microsoft Copilot Studio. Up to what we saw, the Copilot was grounded on our data in Dataverse, so it could answer questions about structured data. Using Copilot Studio, the Copilot can answer questions about unstructured data via generative answers, and also can take actions on behalf of the user using plugins. We just saw how the apps can look amazing once we apply the modern styling, but most importantly also how apps can be backed up by Microsoft Copilot Studio, where you can have full control of the behavior of the Copilot. To achieve this, we use the modern controls that are available on preview and the App Copilot with Microsoft backed by Microsoft Copilot Studio that is rolling out in January. Let's recap. First, we created the multi-device responsive cloud application in less than 2 minutes with the Maker Copilot features that are generally available in enabled regions and Canvas Offline that is public preview. Next, we made changes to the app, combining the preview features in the Maker Copilot, our existing point-and-click experiences, and the all-new formula bar that is coming to GA now, seeing how as a maker you get the best of all worlds. Next, we expanded the application to track another entity in less than 2 minutes, thanks to the Excel to table capabilities in the Copilot and the modern themes and controls in public preview. Once we completed the app, we deployed it using pipelines that are generally available, Copilot descriptions that are public preview, preferred solutions, and managed environments generally available. So our admins have more visibility and more control with less effort. Once we deployed the app, we ran it, and we saw how it was rendered as a native mobile app in the phone with the mobile native preview and as a responsive HTML page in the browser. Next, after we ran the app, we saw how we could bring Copilot to our application without having to make any changes as a maker. In our app, we saw all the capabilities coming in the App Copilot in the Canvas player, like Sidecar, always enabled, and assistance to write text, which are rolling out through January. And finally, once we completed the app, we modernized it and we extended the Copilot. So we saw how with the modern controls and themes, we made the app look beautiful. And then we make our Copilot backed by Microsoft Copilot Studio so we could extend the assistance that the Copilot can provide to the users of the application. In the past few minutes, we went from an idea to a fully deployed application using many of the innovations coming from the Power Apps team in 2023. Although we covered a lot of ground, we also left a lot of things out. The pace of innovation last year was great, and there's even more lined up for January in 2024 and throughout the entire year. Please try out these capabilities, let us know what you think, your feedback is super important for us, and thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.